Hello everybody, Sam here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about the Q2 earnings report published by CRISPR Therapeutics today, 8 August 2022. I want to talk about all of that here in this video because I think it's important to follow these companies even on a quarterly basis, looking at their quarterly earnings report, look at their highlights. I think that's more what I'm concerned the most with. Highlights, see if there's any sort of changes that we've been made aware of. Often nothing really changes, just they have to go through these earnings. Obviously, being a public company, they have to share their balance sheet, their income statement, and so on. And you guys know I never go that deep in the numbers, but I do talk about balance sheet, basically how much cash in the bank and maybe the operating expenses, especially when we're trying to figure out how much cash they can last with, right? So if we take a look at here, CRISPR Therapeutics provides business updates and reports second quarter 2022 financial results. So Climb 111, Climb 121, basically the two programs within the one program, CTX001, or now known as Hexacell, with EMEA and with MHRA, discussion with the US FDA ongoing, right? So looks like there are regulatory discussions going on with all these three agencies, and we already know they have designations from the EMEA and so on, meaning that they will have priority once they go commercial and so on. I mean, this is, again, we've mentioned this many times in the past, but being given the designation from an organization like Health Canada or the US FDA is a win-win for both sides, right? Win for the company because obviously they're getting priority, they're getting maybe less cost, less barriers of entry in whatever program they're trying to get to the market with. And then it's a win for the FDA, for example, because they're getting a segment of the population to be treated, right? Because we know these companies are trying to treat a one-time treatment for patients that don't have any sort of one-time treatment, right? So they initiated 2 additional phase 3 clinical trials of Hexacell for beta thalassemia or sickle cell disease. Interesting. 2 additional phase 3 clinical trials. That's interesting. Maybe this is new actually, but anyways. Enrollment and dosing of ongoing CTX110. This we know. Expecting to report additional data in 2022. They've already reported data for this program in the past. I'm expecting some more data by the end of this year, especially in the next 2-3 months. Enrollment and dosing ongoing for CTX130, which is their other program for CAR T cell. Again, we already know that. It's interesting they're not saying additional data in 2022 for this one. Expect to submit IND for the next 2 generation antigen receptor T cell, CAR T cell candidates by the year end. Interesting. I don't think this is new. They have actually mentioned that in their June presentation, if I remember. Expect to submit a clinical trial application for VCTX211 for type 1 diabetes in the second half of 2022. Interesting. So it looks like they're going forward with their new generation of type 1 diabetes that we have yet to get any data from their program with ViaCyte. So basically their second program with ViaCyte, they're going in to submit a clinical trial application. We expect that Health Canada will go forward with that, considering they've accepted the first program. Unfortunately, we have yet to get any sort of data from the first program, knowing that the first patient was dosed back in first week of February. And for a program like diabetes, you should be getting data within the next few weeks after they dosing the patient. So I don't know, it's been like 7 months, we have no data for the first program. That's my biggest concern for this company, I'll be honest with you. I had big hopes, high hopes for the type 1 diabetes. What ended up happening is we have no data, but in the bright side, ViaCyte got purchased by Vertex for a really good deal, and so basically Vertex, the existing partner of CRISPR Therapeutics through CTX001 and so on, basically is now a bigger partner, and now I think they have unlimited funds now for type 1 diabetes, as opposed to being a partner with a private company like ViaCyte previously, which was obviously not a big company like Vertex. Vertex is huge, guys. So Dr. Sam said strong progress continues across our broad portfolio. We and our partner Vertex presented new clinical data at EHA. Okay, we also presented encouraging new clinical data of CTX130 for solid tumors, and we expect to report data for ongoing CTX110 later this year. In addition, our partner Biosat to continue to enroll in those patients in phase 1 VCTX1210. So that's the first program we have yet to get any data. And it's interesting they're not talking about getting data. Again, very disappointed for this program, but it is what it is. They still have they still have CTX110, CTX130, CTX001. I mean, they have a couple of good programs, CRISPR Therapeutics. But anyway, so I won't go in this rabbit hole talking about their different branches, but obviously they have the whole sickle cell disease, beta thalassemia branch, then they have the whole CAR T cell, then they have the whole organs thing going on, obviously with type 1 diabetes and so on. So let's take a look at the financials because I think that's the most relevant one for this anyways. So interestingly enough, they ended up the quarter with basically 2 billion, as opposed to end of 2021 when they ended with 2.3 billion. So the decrease of 300 million was primarily driven by cash used for operating activities to ongoing. So this has to be concerning, I think. I mean, they have the funds. They have basically almost $2.4 billion at some point earlier this year, and now they're down to 2 billion and some, Am I worried about that? I don't think I'm worried, but it is a concerning point because you basically, within half of the year, you basically burn 300 million from your balance sheet. And look, guys, 300 million is a lot, right? It is a lot. Now, it may not be a lot for a company that's generating like $10 billion revenue or like $5 billion revenue, but this company is generating $0 of revenue. They don't have any FDA approved product. Now, this narrative will definitely change by this time next year potentially, but right now they have no product. So burning 300 million in 6 months, I find that to be quite a bit crazy. Because if you extrapolate that for the year, that's obviously over 600 million, and then you're telling me that 2.4 billion cash will barely last 3 years. I mean, seriously, like there's some companies out there that have like 500 million, and by looking at their expenses, they can probably last like 2 to 3 years. This company has 2.4 billion. There's no reason to only last like 3 years. They should be able to last like 5 to 6 years. Now, that's one side of the argument. The other argument is that it is good that they're investing in their programs. I 100% agree with that. I think you have to invest in these programs, getting type 1 diabetes up and running, the heart disease program, which they didn't put in their highlights, but they should have, starting their heart disease program, exploring the base editors, exploring in vivo. These ventures will cost money. Now, will it cost this much money? I think that's the big argument, but I think it's good what they're doing here. It is what it is. Total collaboration revenue was 0.2 revenue. Obviously, we're not going to talk about compared to last year. That was just a revised number of their partnership. It's not really revenue. To me, revenue is like selling a product. They're not selling a product. They don't have a product. And that's fine, right? That's fine. As investors, we know this. We expected this in 2022. But by this time of the year, this conversation may change, right? I'm not necessarily going to give a pass to this company if they don't have a product to sell by end of 2023, for example, because by this time next year they should be in the process of getting CTX001 FDA approved. They already have the factory going. They've talked about all those factories that can produce like 1K therapies for CTX001 for the first year. That's a figure that Dr. Sam has mentioned in the past. Now, will it be less? Will it be more? Who knows? But I will be very disappointed if they don't have a product to sell by this time next year. But anyways, we're jumping off topic here. But going back here, you take a look at their R&D expense, 123 million. General admin was 26 million. And collaboration was 33 million. Yeah, because these are for the quarter, right? And then you have to multiply these numbers basically by 2, although the numbers different in the last quarter. That's how you got a loss of 300 million, because they didn't really generate any cash since they revised year last year with Vertex, right? So yeah, I think this is a solid quarter for CRISPR Therapeutics, a lot of things happened this quarter. You know, the Innovation Day, it was up and downs. People were sort of down on the CAR T cells, but they were sort of up on the heart disease side of things. Obviously up on the CTX001 program, which has been going fantastic, textbook-like, right? Get everything, get the job done. In my opinion, I think if this company can get CTX001 or Hexacell FDA approved by this time of next year and start selling these products uh, by basically 2024, they can basically leverage that product till 2024, maybe even 2025, before the market's going to be like, well, what's your next product, right? In my opinion, probably 2025 actually. They'll give them at least 2 years, I think, just by the way I think this could go. And then by then, they'll definitely potentially have maybe type 1 diabetes. Maybe they'll have, you know, a heart disease program going for FDA approval, or maybe, you know, obviously their CAR T cells, you know, which is huge, which is amazing, but we'll see where we're going. Jumping off topic here, we're going way above here, but it's good to extrapolate sometimes and sort of predict the future, right? So let me know in the bottom of this video here, what do you think about this quarter? Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll end this video like this. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you found value, and I will see you guys in the next video.